Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid. This morning's ramble is going to include another challenge. I'm going to ask you to do something, but this time I'm going to ask you not to tell me or anybody else about it, okay? Now you can, if you want to, after you've done it, you can go to the comment section and say, I did it, but don't tell me what the it was, okay? I was looking over comments this morning, and a young lady named KH, I want to make sure that I haven't offended anybody by divulging last names. I've done that from some of these comments. I know if you've used your first and last name in a public forum, you've kind of already divulged that information anyway, but I don't know if you're aware of that or not. So I'm going to just use a little more caution on all of your behalf and just use initials. So KH commented on a couple of my videos, and she said that she would like to see me make a video about being nice and polite to others and kind of try to spread that. And Kay, we've done that in quite a few videos. And to prove it, I want to talk about Tracy G, who actually lives across the pond in England. Hello over there, Tracy. I think you guys are about 5 hours ahead of us, so it's probably mid-afternoon by the time you're watching this video, if you watch it as soon as it's uploaded. But Tracy shared a story with us in the comments section that really touched my heart, and I wanted to mention her and what she talked about. Tracy was working last week in her office building, and she heard an argument going on outside. She looked out the window, and there were a lot of workers out there. They were busting up the road, must have been working on the road or the sidewalk or something, and it was very hot and tempers were flaring. Tracy said in her comment that she remembered me talking about what it was like being a mailman in Charlottesville, which I did for 6 months up until just 2 weeks ago today. And how I talked about how wonderful it was when some of the wonderful people of Charlottesville would meet me at their door on those hot days with ice water. And it happened a lot because the people in Charlottesville are so wonderful. 6 or 8 times a day, I would take water. At least that or twice that many times a day, I would say no thank you because I didn't need it because I just got it. So Tracy got some water together. She went outside. She went up to these guys who were working outside in the heat, and she said, hey, here's some cold water. So the guys instantly, their attitudes just instantly changed. They stopped arguing. They drank the water, and one of them even said, you know, I know we just met, but I feel like I'm in love with you. And so it really made their day. It changed their attitudes. It made Tracy's day. Tracy went on to mention that her supervisor nominated her for an award, gave her an award for changing the company's public profile, and he called it Rescuing Thirsty Workmen, the Rescuing Thirsty Workmen Award. And Tracy is receiving some vouchers so she can treat herself. I'm sure in American English that means gift certificates. So Tracy, thank you for doing what you did. I'm touched that something I said in a video inspired you to go out and do that. I guess that's kind of a way of paying it forward. Tracy paid it forward. I know a lot of you are out there paying it forward. KH wants to hear some inspirational motivation to pay it so she can go out and pay it forward. So here's your challenge, and the challenge is today, and guys, we should do this every day, really. You know, I shared in another video about the signs people in Charlottesville love to put in their yards. People, well, not everybody, but a lot of people in Charlottesville just love yard signs. And there was one sign that I mentioned that I saw in one yard on a regular basis that I agreed with. We could all live by it. It says, practice random acts of kindness. And I went on to tell you about how in that particular yard there was a very large dog. The lady who lived there, her name was Emily because I saw it on the mail. And Emily's a special name to me for a special reason. And all these cosmic, magical pieces of it all added up to I started practicing the random act of kindness every day I was in that neighborhood by going into Emily's yard, which wasn't fenced off, didn't have a gate, and just spending a couple minutes with Emily's dog, who was there in the front waiting on Emily to come home. And Emily would come home and walk her dog every evening. The dog always had food, it always had water. And for about 2 minutes a day when I went through there, Emily's dog had company because I spent a couple minutes with Emily's dog. So It's not hard, really, to go out and practice a random act of kindness. We don't have to go out. We can do it in our homes. We can help somebody who lives with us, maybe if they have a daily task or a daily chore. Without them asking us for help, we can just kind of jump right in there and help them out. So it's simple. This is so simple, there's no excuse not to do it. Now, here's your challenge. I'm going to make it a little harder. Well, not harder to do it, but I'm going to make it more challenging. I want you to go out and practice that random act of kindness today and every day. And I don't want you to tell me or anybody else what it is that you did. Like, I just told you about how I would go spend a couple of minutes a day with Emily's dog when I was in that neighborhood. By telling you what I did, I set an example for you to show you how easy it is to do, and that inspired Tracy G all the way over there in England to do something similar. That's good. So it's not a bad thing that I told you what I did, and it's very much a good thing that Tracy G told us what she did. Tracy, thank you for sharing your story with us, because by telling us your story, you inspired me to get up here today and tell this story and issue this challenge. Now, by telling you what I did with Emily's dog, or through any random act of kindness I could do, I kind of took away, well, I erased any humility that my act had. Well, not really, not any. That's being harsh on myself. But the act wasn't as humble as it originally was when nobody knew that I did it. And so this is why I'm challenging you not to tell me specifically what your random act of kindness is. I want, for me, and you're welcome to join me, but I want to get in the habit of practicing random acts of kindness and not telling anybody about them, what they are, where they are, because this will help me grow as far as humility goes. I need a big, I've talked before about if you don't learn certain lessons in life, a lot of times you'll end up back in the classroom to repeat the course. I honestly feel that a large part of me having a job that I didn't particularly care for 6 months was a direct result of me losing a lot of the humility that I'd gained through the years through some rough experiences, when those rough experiences kind of became a distant part of my past and good times were here. I don't want to go back to that classroom. So going forward, I'm saying to myself, how can I learn from having relearned so I don't have to go back and relearn again? It's like Professor Bame's science class I told you about before. I finally said, okay, I'm willing to do what I need to do so that I don't have to go back and repeat this course. So in my mind, I believe what I really need to do is become humble and stay humble. So I'm going to practice a random act of kindness today, and I'm not going to tell anybody what it was. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell my wife. I'm not going to tell my son. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to keep it to myself. And I want you to do the same. And, this kind of reminded me of a story. I guess I'm kind of making the story up. Well, I'm not making it up. This is based on real events, okay? But I'm taking out names and places and these kinds of things. But this is a story that I'm going to call The Tale of Two Women, okay? Charles Dickens already wrote The Tale of Two Cities. So this is my story called The Tale of Two Women. Here's the tale of two women. Once upon a time, there was a little boy. He was a school-aged boy, and he went to school, and he went to church, and he played in the forest, he played in the fields, he fished in the rivers. And throughout his childhood, he noticed there were always these two women that were, at least when it came to school and when it came to church activities, these two women were always there. Now, the one woman was always out in front. He always saw her, everybody always saw her, and man, did she look busy. I mean, if there was a sporting event at the school, if there was some sort of holiday fair, this woman was there. She was front and center. She was at the gate selling tickets or taking tickets. She was in the concession stand selling food. She was on the loudspeaker announcing which activity was next at the Halloween party. I mean, she was just everywhere. And the kid and everybody else saw this. And the same thing with the church. Anytime the church had any sort of event or any sort of, they had some shindig going on, this woman was front and center, and she was just in charge of everything. But the little boy also noticed that there was another woman, and she was always in the background, and he didn't see her every time there was an event, because this one woman, she made sure to be seen, and she kind of drew the spotlight. But every now and then the little boy would turn around and he'd notice this other woman back in the back. She was in the concession stand back there, dumping the popcorn kernels in the machine, trying to fill the bags with popcorn and get them up to where they're sold as quick as she could before they sold out. She was replacing the syrup boxes where the fountain drinks come out. She was just busy as could be. Same thing, with the school functions. She was always back there behind the curtains of the plays, organizing everything, all the activities, getting whatever was needed next ready to go. And she was at the church events too, but she was running the drink cups up so fast as they got emptied and going back to get more. Most of this kid's childhood, he never heard this woman speak. He saw her, not as much as the other girl who was in front of, the audience, but he noticed the other woman. And this little kid, he said to his parents a couple times throughout his childhood, he said, man, that one woman who's always taking tickets, she's always in the spotlight, she's just everywhere. She does so much for this community. And the little boy could never figure out why his parents just kind of bit their tongue and didn't say much. A couple of times the little boy would hear his parents talking about some other woman and how much she did for the community. And the little boy asked him once, who is this woman you're talking about? And they said, oh, you've probably seen her, maybe. She's, the woman in the concession stand who's putting the kernels in the popcorn machine. That's who we're talking about. And the little boy thought, oh, well, yeah, I've seen her, but not very much. I mean, off and on I've noticed her, but I've never heard her talk. This other woman is who sticks out in my mind. Well, the years go by, the little boy grows up, the little boy becomes a man. The little boy goes back to where he grew up, and he spends just a season there, not long, but long enough to look at some things differently through different eyes, because he's now a man and he's no longer a child. So he volunteers to do some events, to take part, to contribute to his community, and he sees these two women again. He sees them, hold on. He sees them in a different order now. He's helping out with sporting events and with some other community events. And the woman who was always behind the scenes that he only saw a couple of times is there. She's there early. She's staying late. But him and this woman and a couple of others are doing all the work. And the little boy asks this woman, where's so-and-so? The woman who was always in the limelight, the woman who was always in front. And the woman bit her tongue and she said, she'll be here. And the little boy, who's now a man, says, well, when will she be here? I remember my whole childhood, she was just always there. She was the one doing everything. She glued this community together. The other woman, the man had to ask her name because he hadn't even remembered through the years. She bit her tongue and she said, she'll be here. So, event night comes. Multiple event nights come. Lo and behold, here comes the other woman that the man always remembered seeing as a little boy. 2 minutes before the event starts, she shows up, fixing her hair. Do I look okay? Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing the other. She jumps in front of the ticket taker at the gate. Here, I got this. You just go do something else. And she's there to take tickets. Hey, folks, welcome to the game. Hey, folks, welcome to the party. She's being seen as she's taking tickets. Well, the man who's now in the back of the concession stand with the other woman who he had barely seen, he had noticed a couple times he'd barely seen her, is helping the other woman get the popcorn going, get the sodas going. And he watches, and he does this through several events while he's spending a season back in this small community. And it occurs to him that the woman who was behind the scenes is the woman who was really doing all the work and holding the entire community together. And the other woman was the one who was making sure to be seen to make it appear as if she was the one doing all the work and holding the community together. What's the difference? Well, there's big differences, and you guys spot all these differences. But the true difference is the woman who was behind the scenes, she practiced as a way of life true humility. She was humble. She did things for the community and for other people because she wanted to help the community and she wanted to help other people. She had no concern with self-glory. She didn't care about being seen and being noticed. She just wanted to help people. And she did it in such a way that was effective. The other woman, I think it's obvious that I'm not saying she didn't want to help the community. Sure, she did. If she didn't want to help the community, she wouldn't be there taking part. So she is to be commended and not to be discredited. because she did help the community. However, as we can see through this story, it's obviously more important for this woman to be seen helping the community. There was some self-centered narcissism going on there, and she wanted to say, look at me, look at me, look at me. Now, the little boy who became a man, and the community is thankful and grateful that that woman is there taking part, because everybody does their part. But the little boy who became a man had a million times more appreciation and respect for the woman who, for years, I mean, in this story, over a span of nearly 30 years, more than a quarter of a century, stayed behind the scenes, but did what she did because she wanted to help. She genuinely wanted to help without any credit. So this is why I'm challenging you today to go out there and practice a random act of kindness. Don't tell anybody about it, because this is how we can grow in regard to humility. And we can make this a habit. We can make it a pattern. We can get to where we're practicing random acts of kindness daily for the sake of practicing random acts of kindness, not for the sake of saying, look at me, look at me, look at what I did. And again, I want to make sure that Tracy G isn't taking this as if I'm saying that's what she did. Tracy, I know that's not what you did by sharing your story with us. Thank you for sharing your story with us, because if you hadn't shared that story with us, I wouldn't be up here right now sharing the story with you. What you did was an example of paying it forward, and also a way of saying thank you to me, letting me know that I inspired you to go out there and practice a random act of kindness like this. And that's what this is all about. So let's go out there and spread those random acts of kindness, but let's make sure we do at least one. If you want to do 2 today and you want to tell somebody about the other, fine, but do at least one that you don't tell anybody about. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it up. I've got to go shave and snuggle with my little boy. He's been doing something here for about the last week that's terrifying me. You know, he's 7, he's going into 2nd grade. I know the time will come when he doesn't want to snuggle with daddy anymore, and this irritates him, so I got to go shave this and take advantage of my morning snuggles. For the last week, he's been using adult toothpaste, I've noticed. And this is like TMI, but I love my son. I love talking about him and my wife, and so I'm going to do it anyway. But about 6 or 8 months ago, I found this really cool children's toothpaste on Amazon. It comes in tubes that looks like crayons. It comes in 3 packs, green, red, blue. He loves that stuff. So that's what it's probably been a year. That's what I've been buying for him for the last year. But about a week ago, he said he wanted to try our toothpaste. And so he used our grown-up toothpaste. And he tried this once about a year ago, and he spit it out, said it burned. It was too spicy, he said. Well, he's still using it. And it's been about a week, and he's still using it. So I gotta go shave, and I gotta go snuggle with my son while he still thinks it's okay to snuggle with daddy. So as we leave each other today, I'm going to give you another parting shot of the homestead. While you're thinking about your random act of kindness, you're going to go practice and not tell anybody about. And come back tomorrow, because we'll see you for more next time.